And this project here has already been set up. We've got a basic structure in here, the same project we worked on in the last few webinars. In here, we're looking at the on-site works. And what we're looking at here is we've got some resources. And if I open up my resources, I've got my site resources in here, and these are set up. And if I want to allocate these to a project, or an activity inside the project, all I do is I go over to the relevant resource and I can drag that across and drop that person on there. And that allocates that one bricklayer to that item there. Now I could go into the properties and I can actually set up where the allocation, is it just 1 or 2? And I can change that if I wanted to. And if I wanted to assign someone to multiple tasks, I could click on 1, 2, 3, grab hold of someone there and just drop, and it assigns them to all 3. So I could literally go through dragging and dropping and quickly resourcing up my schedule as I require. Now, every resource you allocate in here, if I show you in here, I add a column in for my resources and effort, has a total amount of effort they're achieving. So if that task was 120 days long or 120 hours long, one resource working full time with 120 hours. If I go into the properties of there and I say that, go here and say it's actually 2 in there, then you can see it's 240 hours over 140 hour duration of tasks. 2 people are working on there. So you have the option of doing that. You can also add in a column in here that allows you to say that, allocations, allocation. There's that 2, so I can actually have this preset up and change this as I wanted to, and you can see it changes in there. So really very quickly, with a project set up and having a template set up, which you can have, speak to Solid Support about getting a template set up. You possibly already use one in a sense by using the previous project to start a new project. In here, you can just drag and drop across. You drag across and so on there, and that's really easy to do, but it can be easier. And the reason I say this is if I remove these resources that I've just assigned in here, and then what I'm going to do is I can pre-set up a view with a column for each resource. So we've got one inside here that's going to resource and resource entry that has already got those set up. We've now got columns for the bricklayers, carpenters, roofers, and steel fitters. Now I'm not actually worrying about the activities that I'm assigning to here, but as I look at these activities, and if I scroll back and see those, I can now inside here just click in here and say, well, I want 2 of those resources on there, 3 of there, 1 of there, 2 of there, 1 there, 2 there, 3 there, and I'm just literally going through resourcing up my plan just by typing in how many people I need. And that's now giving me a histogram for site resources, how many is needed. It's giving me a stacked histogram over here showing the number of people and the breakdown by the different types of resources I've got. And down here I've got a heat map of each resource, the bricklayers, the carpenters, the roofers, and steel fitters. And it's showing me their allocation of where they are. So blue is under allocated, red allocated, and then if you go to red, you're over allocated. Now the real advantage of this heat map inside here is that when I'm looking at this, if I can't do it with achieve 160 hours for the bricklayer on that task, I can go and start to profile how many hours I can do and just type in, and it will now, as I go through, it's now going to profile that resource. And I'll talk more about that in a moment, but I can go through that shown in weeks, but I can have that in months, days, whichever unit I want to show. And I can add the columns that are relevant, but it shows me the amount of effort that in total they're achieving across that time. But it means it's a really useful way to see where there are problems for each resource, because you can set how many resources you have available to you. And you can then monitor those over time. And as I've done that, I come back here, and as you see, it's done exactly what I would have done by just dragging and dropping, and it's allocating the resources straight across onto it.